Good morning, St. Louis. It is 7 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, so y'all know what time it is. It's time for the St. Louis Hustle Podcast with your boy Cortez Hustle, my girl Michelle A. And today we got another wonderful show lined up for you. We are talking supreme confidence with Nyshaun Harvey. She's co-owner of Latte Lounge out here in North County, and she's doing some amazing things with the impact that she's making on the community and the lives of young people, even though she's relatively young herself. So it's about to go down, man. I need y'all to do me a huge favor. Comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand. Smash that share button, and let's kick it this morning.
Growing up in St. Louis has never been easy, and most say if you want to succeed here, that you must leave and put down roots somewhere else because of the strong crabs in a barrel mentality here.
I don't know if I'm just an optimistic person, but to see people like Chuck Berry and Nelly make it in the music industry, or the Roberts brothers and Dave Stewart in business, or William Lacey Clay Jr. in politics, can we blame the city, or is it that people just aren't hungry enough?
We're talking to all of the movers and shakers in this town, from entertainers to politicians, social activists and organizers, and of course, entrepreneurs.
Is there a curse on this city that holds people back? Is there an unseen hand that decides who makes it and who doesn't? You're about to find out.
Welcome to St. Louis Hustle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very special edition of the St. Louis Hustle Podcast. I know y'all didn't expect to see us today, but boom, here we are, because we got a chance to pin down this young lady who's doing some amazing things in the community, and we had to catch her when we could. So that's why we are here on a Thursday with Nyshaun from Latte Lounge. She's doing some amazing things, so we're going to bring her out in a moment. I can't wait to have this conversation with her. We're talking supreme confidence, by the way. Your belief in yourself is really all that matters, ladies and gentlemen, and she's going to share her thoughts on that. But in the meantime, I guess I got to tell you where we're coming from, Michelle. We are coming live and direct from
the studio, that Black
Biz Marketing Pro Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you are a local service-based business and you need some help optimizing your online presence, increasing your lead flow, and growing your revenue, that's what we do. Go to localbizmarketingpros.com. Check us out over there. All we want to do is see you win no matter what. We give you the tools, resources so that you can compete as a local business with these national brands and run them out of our community, because that money is better served when it is on Main Street versus Wall Street. So localbizmarketingpros.com. Check that out. Shelley, what's going on in your world today?
Whew, right. You could say, how was the weekend, sis? You had to say, what's going on in my world today?
That's right.
Thursday. Well, we prime time, so you're welcome. Because you know how many shows I gave up today to be here with y'all at prime time. Thursday is still the night to watch television. But you know what I said? Today's guest and interview, I was really kind of excited about it, because I definitely want to check out this young lady's cafe. I'm excited for the conversation as well. But today, you know, I was on Nana duty again, and I'm just rediscovering so many things about babies, you know, because it's been 25 plus years since I had little ones in the household. And one thing I've discovered, Cortez, is that babies boo-boo way too much for me. You know, they boo-boo way too much. I don't think I can take it, you know, because they really expect you to clean that up. I'm like, listen, I do mine, you do yours. He's not on board with that. So I don't know, but don't go to, he's so cute. He getting away with it. So hung out with the G baby today. And that's pretty much where I was today. That was the day. The day.
Yeah, I am in a similar situation. We all know that the flooding that we had last month really rocked some people to the core. My sister-in-law got flooded out of their place. Both her car and my niece's car totaled. Man. My niece and my great niece have been spending a lot of time over here. And I'm like you, Michelle, like I can't get no work done when that little joker around, because you can't just help but stop doing what you're doing to play with them. Like, it's crazy. I was like,
thank you.
I love y'all, but y'all gotta go. I got some bags. And this ain't helping, right? But we've been having a good time enjoying her company, watching her grow up. She's about the same age as your G baby. She's 11 months this month.
Yes.
So she's amazing, such a joy, and got my wife wanting the dog all of a sudden. I'm like, hey, listen.
You know, your niece was born same hospital, because I remember when I had a G baby, Lee was up there at the same time. Yep. So they're like a few days apart. They're a few days apart. So okay. So you guys, you know exactly. So now when I don't be having my A word of the day, you know, the baby was here on Monday, you'd be like, oh, okay, I understand. We just go, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to just let the babies do the first half of the show, since they running everything anyway.
They certainly are running it. So normally we jump right into the Michelle A word of the day or some announcements. I don't have any announcements today because I don't want to take up any time for this young lady. She's got so much going on that I want to really give her the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring on our special guest. Michelle's going to do the A word of the day. And then we're going to get into this conversation with co-owner of the Latte Lounge, Miss Nyshaun Harvey. Good morning, sis. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you guys?
We are doing exceptionally well. Well, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm doing exceptionally well.
I'm doing super good. I'm doing super good. Thank you, sir.
All right, cool. So we're going to get into who you are and how all of the wonderful things that you got going on have come to be in your life. But Michelle does her own segment every episode called the Michelle A Word of the Day. So we wanted you to be on to hear her word of the day and get your thoughts on it as well. So Michelle, you ready?
I's ready, sir. I's ready.
Let's get into the Michelle A Word of the Day.
And now the Michelle A Word of the Day.
Hey, and what is up, party people? Good evening to you. Not good morning, but good evening. Just stopping by really quick to hit you with this Michelle A Word of the evening. We're going to change it for the show. Everything's special today. So this is going to be a quick one, but it's so fitting for today's show. I'm coming at you with another quote. And this quote says, you're going to love it because I love it. Confidence has no competition. Oh, gosh darn it. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Confidence has no competition. Listen here, people. We live in a competitive world. We live in a competitive society, right? That's just kind of the way this world is painted up. But I am here to let you know, when you are confident and you are leading with confidence and you are exuding confidence, it's got to be in you. There's no competition. You don't have a competition. There is no one that can come and compete against you, because your confidence puts you in your own lane, your own category. It literally propels you forward in a league of your own. Therefore, if everyone just had their own amount of confidence, there's no need for my business to be better than your business, or my business is making more money than your bit. There's no need for that, because everybody can be winning if you're winning with confidence. So there it is. Real simple, short, to the point. This has been your A Word of the Day. Hey.
Boom.
It is.
Love it, love it, love it. Nyshaun as our guest. Do you have any thoughts on the Michelle A Word of the Day? Is she on point, or are we going to take it or leave it?
Take it.
Take it, please. Take it.
I agree 100%. And I think that's what, especially like my generation, kind of what they're looking at. They're looking at everyone around them. But if you run the race that God has set before you, God has set before you, then you don't have to look to the left or right, but you could actually look up. And he'll order your steps. So you don't have to compete with anyone. Race with anyone. So I agree 100%.
Now that was amazing. but I'm not gonna let you just get away with calling me and Michelle old. I'm not gonna let you do that.
Right. Speak for yourself.
My generation.
Speak for yourself.
No.
I thought I was in her generation. I thought you were talking about
you. Know what I'm saying? We're not gonna let you just call us old like that on our show, Nyshaun. Come on now. No, you are absolutely right. I think two things: confidence and authenticity. Man, when you can get confident in your authentic self, you're one of one, baby. There's nobody like you.
Yep.
But so many people are dealing with confidence issues that they are rather be second best at trying to be somebody else than being first best at being who God made them to be. So what a word, what a word, what a word. We definitely keeping that, Michelle. So we're going to get right into what we came here to talk to y'all about, man. This young lady is exuding confidence, and it's evident in the actions that she's taken. So, Nyshaun, I asked everybody to come on the St. Louis Hustle podcast. This one question I'm going to ask it to you. And the question is this: who the heck are you?
Well, I'm Nyshaun, like you said earlier. I am a 24-year-old serial entrepreneur, born and raised here in St. Louis, Missouri. We came from a household of entrepreneurs, came from a household of affirmations, of purity, no sex before marriage and that kind of thing. And so my sister and I quickly noticed in elementary school and middle school that the lifestyle that our parents were teaching us wasn't quite normal, and that others didn't really understand what that truly meant. And so, the lame, the name calling, and the boring, the church girl, we experienced all those things. And then back then I didn't understand it. And I would always ask my mom, well, why can't we go to the party? Or why can't I stay a night? Or, those are the questions that I was asking at the time. But quickly you realize that standing out is way better than fitting in, even at a very young age. And you thank God that you were the different one, that your parents raised you differently than everyone else did. And so, of course, in that process, when I was young and I didn't quite understand what was happening, now I'm like so thankful for being the outcast, so thankful for not going to the parties and doing kind of what everyone else was doing. So, yes.
I love that. You talked about coming up from a family of entrepreneurs. What was it like, and how young were you when you realized that entrepreneurship was a thing? Like, wait a minute, we work, but our family don't go to work. Like, we are work. Like, how early did you realize, like, or was it one of those things where it was like, hey, around here we own our own businesses, around here we do our own thing? Was it instilled early, or did you just kind of stumble up on them like, hey, we do things different around here, not just the purity and the training and the spirituality, but our whole way of life is different? How early was it when you realized that entrepreneurship was the foundation that your parents was building everything on?
Probably when I was in 5th grade, probably going into middle school. My mom had a home daycare for 10 years, and so it was actually inside of our home. So I was seeing entrepreneurship literally walking down the steps every day. So it was right there in my face. And she had a daycare from 2000 to 2010. And I didn't know that that's what I would be doing, when I turned 19 years old. But my mom at first was one of the ones that, it was to break the curse. My sister and I are going to go to college. You're going to get a degree. That was the rule. You're going to go to college. You're going to get a degree. Until my sister went to college and she realized that it wasn't the path for her. And then I went to college my freshman year and quickly realized that this is not the path for me. And then my parents had to realize, okay, we have to allow God to do whatever it is that He wants to do, because His way, not our way. So when I told them, I don't think I want to go back to college after, I finished this semester out, I want to open up a business. And so I was working underneath my parents' home healthcare company at the time. And so I was just saving my money while I was in college. And then I dropped out of college after my freshman year, opened up a home daycare, and I was 19 years old.
Wow.
So that's when all of this ever started. So I've had the daycare for 5 years now. But quickly realizing, like, when I was younger, like, okay, this is pretty cool. Entrepreneurship is a cool thing, but also hearing, them say, I need to go to college, I need to get a degree. So it was kind of like a battle to decide what I really wanted to do. But I tried that way, and that wasn't the path for me.
Yeah. So talk us through, like, I know Michelle is chomping at the bits, but talk us through, like, 5th grade, you're entering into middle school, and you're dealing with this radically different lifestyle, because back then entrepreneurship wasn't as sexy as it is today. Everybody's got entrepreneur in their bio on IG,
Yes.
like, and they ain't doing the liquor business, and they ain't even doing business, right? But entrepreneurship is in the title, so it wasn't as sexy, and the money isn't as regular, and it's not always smooth sailing. That, like, as you went into middle school and you started to dealing with a little bit of the bullying and the name calling and all of that kind of stuff, what was it about what your parents did that allowed you guys to continue to walk in their ways, their concepts and precepts, that you didn't break left or right? You're like, okay, this is hard and we're getting laughed at about it, but we're going to trust that our parents are making the right moves and teaching us the right things. What was it about how they parented you guys to make you stay on that path?
I think the biggest thing was the conversations that we had at home. It was always, reassurance. It was the church every Sunday and the youth every Wednesday night. To know that maybe in our school, we were a select few, but when I go to this community, when I go to my church community, I'm surrounded by people that are my age and that are doing exactly what I'm doing. And so my parents always, they instilled like the self-worth, they instilled the affirmations inside of us. And so I think that was probably the biggest thing for me, is to see like, okay, it's normal, in some areas, but the place that I'm at, daily, it's not quite normal. So what can I actually do to get the children around me to understand that this is actually the right thing to do? Or this is like not a bad thing to do, however, whatever that might look like to them, while also kind of still being relatable to them, so that they didn't label me as, better than or too good or things like that. So it was more so like a balance. And even at a young age, I had to figure that out very quickly, because, school kids are cruel. And we had quite a few friends. But again, you always had that group that thought otherwise about you, or thought you were too good or something like that. So it was like a quick balance of trying to be relatable in a way that I could wheel them in a certain way, while still living my life for Christ as well.
Love it.
That's so awesome. And so Cortez knows the look on my face when I really, really like want to jump in. I'm like, I'm trying to behave. But so I just absolutely love your story, just because, number one, I have a daughter your age. And so I'm right there with you, because they were raised in church. And so I as a parent, on my end, I was a single parent. So I watched them come in from school, and there was the bullying, and there was the mom, they said this and they think I'm lame, and, and them trying to deal with that. So first of all, just, kudos to mom and dad, and just kudos for you to be able to trust mom and dad and not rebel, because middle school is such a tough time. And that is a time where you've got all these different things pulling at you. And some kids do rebel, one of mine did, and so kudos to you for just trusting the process, trusting, your parents, trusting God. So I'm inspired. I'll say that. This is probably soon. This is probably too soon for this question in the conversation, but I got to get it out there. What would you say, or what have you said to young ladies that are in middle school? You being a 24-year-old entrepreneur, what would you say to you back then to keep you encouraged, or to a young lady that might be going through some of that same thing now?
I think the biggest thing is knowing your worth. Even when it comes to friendships, when it comes to dating, all those things, knowing your worth, and not trying to, fit in with the status quo or be popular or cool, but kind of just going to school, focusing on what you need to focus on, and focusing on the end goal. Have goals, write them down early. One of my favorite scriptures is like, write it down and make it plain, just to make it simple. And since I've been a little girl, whether it was I wanted to lose weight, fit a certain size jeans, or whatever that might have looked like, I've always written down what it is that I wanted to do. And I've seen God continuously bring everything to fruition in my life that I've written down. And so having those goals, having that mindset, and also just knowing your worth, and focusing on what you need to focus on, not boys, not fitting in with the right friends, trying to be cool, being a class clown, things like that. But just focusing on the main thing.
That's so awesome. From this standpoint, I love how you say, keeping your mind focused, on what you need to. And then, the self-worth, I tell my kids this all the time. Like my youngest is 24, soon to be 25, and my oldest is 27. And I tell them both, listen, we had a tough road because I feel like I grew with them through middle school, but I'm 50 and I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm understanding what God says about me. Right. And to take a page out of your book, I wish in middle school I had been I wish I had knew those words to say, listen, this is what, because they were getting it on Sunday, they would get it, on Tuesday for Bible study. But I wasn't really at home doing that work to say, hey, here's what God says about you as a woman. Yeah. Here's where your worth is in him. So that's just awesome and wonderful. I wanted to hit that part because I think that is what you just said. Your foundation in Christ and being able to write the vision and make it plain, that has propelled you. It is why you can sit here in confidence at 24 years old. The booger with the sugar, running the world.
I'm telling you, getting it done and getting
Absolutely.
it in. So talk about those high school years in this light. Coming from an entrepreneurial background, were you the kid selling candy at school? Were you braiding hair? Were you
Girl Scouts?
Look, I'm gonna go old school with Michelle. Were you the girl making Atta-B chains for everybody? You don't know what Atta-B chain is. That's all
right. I was like, that's before her time.
Bless her heart. She don't know
what
what
they doing.
I know what they are.
So my grandmama had them.
So were you that kid, or was it strictly focused because your parents said college is the play? So was it, let me make sure I get the grades, I get scholarships or whatever? But did you have any entrepreneurial endeavors in school?
I did. My sister and I started our very first business together shortly after my father had passed, and we named it Daddy's Girls Boutique, and it was an online boutique. And so we'd go to school and share the word. People would purchase stuff. We'd take it to school in a little zebra bag. I mean, literally. And like freshman and sophomore year, taking merchandise to school and making it happen. So even though, that college was a thing, we still started early as entrepreneurship, while that college was still a conversation. We had started like an online boutique. And of course, like our mom bought everything that we needed to have our inventory up for us to sell. We would do like pop-up shops and all kind of stuff on the weekends outside of school. But we were focused in school for sure. Class president, student council, leadership, things like that. Participated in a lot of other activities, but we hustled too while we were learning.
talk about, because everybody doesn't have this, and condolences on the passing of your father. It sounds like a wonderful man and family that brought you guys together. But talk about the importance and the feeling of having that full-fledged support from mom. She didn't say, hey, no, college is the thing. Get your head out of the clouds with that little business. Let's just focus on these books. She went all the way in like, hey, let me set you guys up, whether it was a loan or y'all was gonna pay her back. I'm gonna get y'all started, then y'all on your own. But to have that backing early on in that first endeavor, how important was that? And what do you think the impact of that was on you and your sister?
I think more than anything, it helped us build even more confidence. It was our first business. It was online. Social media was big back then, but we didn't have the most followers or whatnot. And so a lot of it was word of mouth. And so to just have somebody believe in you that much, that they would purchase that much, invest in you, help you with your website, whatever it looked like, help you drop off deliveries. Because at the time I wasn't driving. Just to have somebody believe in you that much gave you the confidence to know that, anything is possible, really.
Yes.
I am, leaving middle school, going into high school, and we have this business. I am 14 years old and I'm selling clothes. Like, we're making money, we're getting deposits into our bank account, like outside of, any other job. And so like just that alone, I think has built my sister and I both our confidence up like tremendously. Because it starts at home. It always starts at home. And so have mom and dad telling me I can do anything, that I'm beautiful, that I'm a world changer at such a young age. Those are things that have stuck with me today, which is why I went into childcare, which is why I wrote, those 2 books to instill affirmations into other children, because it wasn't the normal thing in other people's household, but it was the normal thing for me. And so I think my biggest thing was just to kind of try and just spread a little light wherever I went, as many people as I could, and kind of catch the next generation before they came up and got to middle school and high school like I was, where it was foreign to those around me. But when they're 2 and 3 years old, if I can instill it into them now, then why not?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And mom didn't just say you can take over the world. She put her money up, right? Like in my Dame Dash voice, bosses put up their own money, right? Your mom said you can change the world, and I'm going to show you how much I believe that you can change the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to back you financially and not just with words of encouragement. So, man, amazing.
Super, super.
You want to jump in, Michelle? I want to get a better understanding of these books that you got out.
Yeah, you know what? Definitely. Oh man. So I always relate everything personally. I'm one of them. I'm probably acting like a nana for real, but I'm a new grandmother, and so I was just thinking, just in relation to your story, you were talking about the daycare, which I hope is located in North County because my grandson needs a daycare, but that's a whole nother thing. And but I was just thinking to myself, you know, I've got him for a little bit until I start working again. And I was just saying to myself how important it is. He's about to turn 1 and he's already mimicking. He's a sponge. You know, these new millennial kids, they come in here a whole new different kind of way. Who child? Because he won and he ain't walking, but that joker showed up trying to talk. And so, but I pray over him, and you know, I speak those words over him. And how special is that you are giving of yourself to, you know, just in your business is kids, you know, right now, at least one of your businesses is kids, to take and shape, because you don't know. And I say it, you don't know what they're getting at home or what they're not getting at home. And you know what I'm saying, what the Bible says, one plants and another one waters, you know, but God gives the increase. That planting and that watering that you're doing, that fruit that you are, you know what I'm saying, that's going to bear fruit one day, you know, and somebody might not, a parent might drop their child off and be like, oh, okay, whatever. But man, that is a richness. That's a richness that you are investing in that child.
Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, I plead when we get to the end, I know we'll get all your business stuff, but I just get so caught up in that because it's so needed with our babies, you know. And again, I missed it. I was a young mom myself. You know, I missed it, you know, but now, you know, when I hear somebody as young as yourself, you're like, oh no, I got to pop the top on this thing and pour into these kids. It's just simply amazing. It's amazing. So I know Cortez wants to jump into the books. I want to jump into the books too. Girl, let's talk about the books. let's talk about the books.
Let's talk about the books and what made you go that route, and was it a difficult process for you? And is writing always been your thing, or was it just something that you saw a need and you're like, hey, I'm gonna fill it. Why not? If nobody else is gonna step into this void, then here I go.
I was not a writer. And the book is simply affirmations. So I am bold, I am brave, I am intelligent. You know, it's 6 pages and it's about 6 affirmations on each page. And those 2 words, I am, were very, very important in our household. We had stuff on the wall, stuff on the mirror, wherever we went, you know, in the house, those were set before us. And just the power of I am in general. It just did something to me. And again, that was one of those things that stuck with me from a little girl, you know, repeating those affirmations from my parents when I didn't quite understand what I was even saying just yet. That stuck with me. And so again, it was one of those things where if I can get something colorful and bright in the hands of a child, in the hands of a parent to read to their child, and to them, they're just reading words or whatever that might look like. Kids love repetition. And they love pictures, they love songs. And so now I've like added a song with it so that they can get it. I don't care if you got to jump and dance. I don't care what you do to do, as long as you fully understand and comprehend that I am, you know, a world changer. I am brave, I am bold, etc. And so I think that was the importance of the book. I started the first one, I believe, maybe 2017, and then maybe a couple months later, I released the second one. So once for girls and then once for boys.
Love it.
That's amazing. I heard Lisa Nichols talk about one time when she was battling depression, and that was what saved her. She went to the doctor. The doctor said, hey, we're going to put you on this Prozac or this Xanax or whatever they give for depression. She said, hold on, wait a minute. You tell me, what is depression? Just when you sad all the time? Doctor's like, yeah, pretty much, but it's kind of more severe. She said, okay, well, if you give me just 30 days to see if I can go deal with this on my own, let me try that. And if I can't make it work, and if I come back and I'm not better, I'll take all the medicine that you want. And she said she went home and she did 3 things every day. She said she told herself, I forgive me for fill in the blank. She said, I'm committed to fill in the blank. And she said, I am fill in the blank. Those 3 things every day. She looked at herself, declared what she was committed to, forgave herself for whatever she needed to forgive herself for, and she spoke the power of I am. So I am a living witness because I picked that up from her, and that's what I do on a daily as well. So super, super kudos to you for the book. I want to know what this conversation was with your parents when you told them you were not going back to school, because I have some experience with a similar conversation. Now, I'm 4th born of 6 children, raised by a single mom on welfare. We struggled. She found a way to send my sister to college. She got a bachelor's and a master's degree off of a welfare mom. She sent me to college, but I went a different direction, right? I checked out after the first 2 weeks, officially dropped out after the first 2 months. I mean, the first 2 semesters. And I remember having to tell my mom I wasn't going back to school, right? So what was that like, and how long? Because I got a feeling that it didn't take them long to get over it. But were you scared to have that conversation? What was that? What was going through your head when you realized, you know what, I ain't doing this again?
I wasn't scared, but I almost felt like, am I a quitter? That's kind of what I thought. And more so because I know that because of my mom's lifestyle and how she was raised, her biggest goal was for us to break the curses that were in the family. And I know that was a really, really big one, you know, for us to get a degree and go through college, because that wasn't normal for my family. And so I felt like, man, I'm not going to be the one, you know, that gets the degree and whatever. But when I talked to her about wanting to get out of college, it was a very why. It was a question of why. And it was a very smooth conversation. And then also just what my next steps were. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I was working underneath her home health care business where I was saving all of my money, and they matched whatever I had in home daycare. That's what I started out with for 2 years. And then we moved to a facility because I outgrew my space very quickly. But it was definitely a way smoother conversation than I had kind of imagined. Again, because I didn't want to be like that letdown or that quitter. I wanted to, you know, help the family break the curse. But it wasn't me, and I am thankful. Thankful that I dropped out, and God he did what he needed to do. So
gotcha. Well, I didn't see the fruits of that dropping out until much later in my life, because I dropped out to do some foolishness. I didn't start at in-home daycare. I dropped out to run the streets, and that was literally my reason. When I came back that summer, all of my friends, you know, that I thought were friends, and some of my close friends that are still close today, they had advanced in the street life, and they had cars with booming radios and stuff. And I was like, how did I miss that? I can't go back to school. I got to catch up. Right. And you know, I
thought you was late for being the thug. You was late for being the thug.
I was late for being the thug. I got to catch up with getting my thug fizzle on. But the daycare, obviously exciting. It went well. You outgrew the home and had to go and get you a facility. Now, good, you have parents that had been in this space and understand business contracts and all of that kind of stuff. Talk us through some of these. These aren't moves that the average. So you started at 19. That means at 21 you're signing a lease for a building to go into. Like, talk us through the business side of making that transition work.
It was definitely a lot. But like credit, that was a big conversation. When we turned 16, our mom automatically put us on her credit cards to help build our credit at a young age. She would make us sit at the table at 11 years old and write out checks to pay the bills, just to show us how a check was written out. And so a lot of the things that school doesn't teach us. They teach us algebra equations that we're never going to use again. But they don't teach us life skills. And so that was one thing that my mom made sure of. When we got home, we had conversations about day-to-day life. And again, the entrepreneurship was happening literally in our home growing up. And so we saw her, submit the hours for the children and, do her payroll for her staff. We were sitting there and watching and soaking all of that in, and even assisting, if she allowed us to do so. And so signing a commercial lease was like, whoa, like I'm still living at home.
Right. I was going to say, you should be signing the lease for an apartment, but you sounded like, I'm way past that. Yeah. I'm on to bigger things. That's awesome.
Definitely like, whoa. And so it was definitely a learning process because, again, even with the state, the rules are different in a home daycare versus a facility. So I learned quite a bit. My mom never had a physical facility. She always did it in home daycare. So she was right there with me. All that she knew from 14 years ago, she was kind of walking me through as much as she knew that, was still the same. But it was definitely different. But we made it.
I love that, man. And I love the reason we do the St. Louis Hustle podcast, is because I want entrepreneurship to be as commonplace a conversation as going to college. If I told people I was going to college to study underwater basket weaving, they'd be, yay, good for you.
Right.
I can't make no money weaving no basket.
Not everybody.
But it doesn't matter. As long as they heard college, they automatically assume, and that's my biggest problem with college. I am all for higher education, continuing education, and continuing learning. I have two problems with college. Number one, it's sold as if it is a guaranteed way to succeed.
Yep.
And it is sold as if it is the only way to succeed. Yep. So we bring the St. Louis Hustle podcast to the table because I want to have conversations with people like you to say, hey, you know what? At 19 years old, I was getting it. At 21, I signed a commercial lease before I even signed a lease for my own place because that's where my mindset was. So kudos to you, right?
Absolutely. Now,
go ahead, Michelle.
You said it was two reasons why you do the show. That was the first reason. I was just gonna say my reasons for doing the show, ma'am, was because I need an outlet. Okay, it's a lot going on in this brain, and that I could explode and confetti could pop out everywhere. So I just show up and be like, "Do I get to talk today?" Now, you know what? Low key, me and Cortez, we actually used to work a corporate job together, and I came on board to the St. Louis Hustle podcast because I agreed with his vision for business and entrepreneurship. And then he allows me to be able to sprinkle in Jesus where I can. He allows me to sprinkle in a joke or two when they land. He allows me to sprinkle in a joke or two when I can. But the entrepreneur part of this and the spiritual component, for me, you can't miss. And you have them both. And for me, that is what most made me excited about you as a guest. You got both. Like you literally are set up to win. Like you got the playbook. There's no, if you lose this race, you tripping. There's no way you can lose. Right. You have the best playbook and the best coach. So, these are the reasons that make me grateful for having this job. I love what I do because people like you.
Thank you.
That's it. So when it comes to the transition, like some people would have said, hey, I got a daycare and a whole facility. That's enough. But not you. You said, wait a minute.
I want more.
That's just scratching the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
I want to do something else. And on top of that, this goes back to Michelle's word of the day, and confidence and authenticity and running and your own race in your own lane. You opened up a coffee shop as if the world's biggest and most popular coffee shop isn't on every corner in our community. You like, man, move over.
Right.
So talk us through that decision and then the journey to grand opening to open up the Latte Lounge.
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, I did lose my dad when I was 14 years old. And so that 2 years, and I don't want to make it like, my life was just great. Everything was not just great. When I lost my father at 14, those next 2 years, I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to fall off the face of the earth. I didn't want to I missed so much school. I mean, it was not an easy thing for me at all. And my poor mom, the whole time was just right there by my side. And so grief counseling, whatever I needed to do is what I did over those 2 years. But one of the things that I suffered from was depression, which led to me having very bad migraines. And so the only thing that would help my migraine subside was caffeine. So I'm at the most popular place we're not going to mention.
That's right. That's right.
Every
Kill
day.
it for them. Kill it for them.
2 times a day, right?
Yeah.
2 times a day, caramel macchiatos, extra shots. I mean, $60 literally like every 3 days at this place, giving them all my money because all I wanted was my migraines to go away. I'll do whatever it took. I couldn't see sunlight. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't go out anywhere because it would trigger a migraine or make a migraine worse. I couldn't drive right in a car. I mean, literally any little thing. And so that's what made it subside. And so after God had brought me out of that season of depression and brought me out of that grief, my first thought was, what can I do to help another young teenager who lost a parent kind of get through what I just went through? And hopefully much quicker than it just took me to get through this. I knew God, but I was questioning God. I'm 14 years old. And the worst thing that I, could ever happen to me just happened to me in my mind. So I'm trying to figure out kind of where do I go from here? And so when I came out of that depression at 16 years old, I wrote down in my journal, I want to open up a Christian coffee shop. And that might have been in 2017, 2018. That's what I wrote down. I didn't know how. I didn't know when. I knew that I had the daycare, and I knew that was more than enough, taking up more than enough of my time. That was like my baby. And there was a spot 2 doors down from the daycare because we're in a plaza that came available. And so my mom thought, you want to open up a cafe, and, it's your first time trying this. This is a small, little, quaint place. It might be perfect. Had a really great relationship with the owners of the plaza. And so I asked them, what a lease would look like. And so I signed my lease right before COVID hit. So all of my money that I have from daycare, I'm pushing to the side what I can to hopefully get this build out done and to start up a new business here. No idea what I'm doing. Literally, I've never done coffee before. I just know that I love it. That's all I know.
Right.
And so I hired contractors and they started building out. I had to get all these permits, go to City Hall, sit in these meetings. And I had a 6-month plan because everything's been working out in my favor, and it's going to happen in 6 months. And then COVID happened. And so my 6 months doubled into 14 months. So it doubled and some. And so I wanted to quit, but I was in a lease. So what are you going to do? Suck it up and open up this coffee shop. And so that's what I did. And so November 2020, I opened up, grand opening. So my family had many nights of me crying and whining that I just wanted it to be over. I just want to be open and that kind of thing. And within 3 or 4 months with the opening, God completely blew my mind with the place, gave me so many witty inventions and godly ideas that most popular place isn't doing. And I know that it's only him and the help of my family that have helped me get to this point. And so I'm forever blessed. It's almost 2 years for the Florissant location. And then my stepfather and I partner on this location downtown, which is where I am right now. And this one is open for a year and a couple months as well. So.
Nice. Listen, I don't want people to miss the lesson, right? Because I think the biggest lesson that comes out of this is the way your mind works. Immediately after being healed and coming through a situation, your first thought is, how do I help somebody else get through it and hopefully get through it a lot faster than what I went through? And Michelle talked about the spiritual and the entrepreneurship connection. And a lot of people don't know that the Bible is really a book about business. If you really look at it, right? There's a lot of business in the Bible, and it's all comes down to serving other people, right? God created 3 things when he created creation, right? He created creation, he created creatures, and then he created creators, which is us. And you are using your ability to create and you're allowing yourself to be used to create spaces and opportunities to serve everybody. And Michelle know my favorite saying is you can make $1 and make a difference at the same time.
Yeah.
And you're doing it. You're doing it like
absolutely. Like
that's
absolutely.
That's hot.
It is. Cortez, you know my favorite saying, I like caffeine. So I was like, she likes caffeine too. I like caffeine. That girl, so what else you get me? Yes. Caffeine and Jesus, you get me.
Yes.
I need the address. I said, now I'm old. All that caramel macchiato stuff, that tear my tummy up. I'll be in the bathroom about 4 weeks, but I can get with you. I would love to go support and just sit people watch.
Yeah.
I love it though. I'm super excited. So is it too soon to find out? I just want to get to the nuts of the bolts. Like, where is it located? I know you said downtown, correct?
Yes, one of our locations is downtown on Washington Avenue, so Washington and Jefferson.
Did you say one up? As you? Let me just put my hands up. Let me just go to the throne of grace right now, Father. What am I doing wrong? No, but that is so come on, 2 locations. That's how you said it.
Yes.
Cheetah. Well, the first location is at Well, Michelle, the first location, first meaning more than one. That is so amazing. I'm sorry, you said Washington and Jefferson. Put your pinky finger out next time you say that. Washington and Jefferson, y'all.
Yes, it's Old Rustic Go. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that spot.
Yes.
Yes, they used to have like brunch during the day, and
they used to do comedy down there.
So that's where the restaurant and the coffee is, and then just the cafe by itself is just coffee and Florissant on Waterford. So it's Lindbergh and Waterford.
Okay. And what is it called? You said the Florissant is what called what now?
Latte Lounge.
Oh, okay, Latte Lounge, and then the one downtown, is it the same name or?
It's Latte Lounge HG Eatery, and so that's the brunch aspect, the HG Eatery, and then which is our family's initials, and then the Latte Lounge is the coffee.
Gotcha, man. So I'm around the corner from the North County location.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be up in that joint because I don't often frequent the other most popular place, but I'm the cheap QT coffee guy. But I will go and get me some Latte Lounge coffee now that I am familiar. So what was that process like when you decided, okay, 2 years, we survived COVID. I guess the next best thing is to open another location, right?
Why not? Why not? We winning. Why not?
After that, the first year of the Florissant location, as I mentioned earlier, a couple months in, God just really started to just put the name of the business in mouths of people all over. Social media, like the engagement is absolutely insane. And so I was just like, it's just a flight board. It's just a latte flight. That's in my mind. It's just like a, an alcohol flight. It's just lattes, different lattes on a flight board. But people went crazy. They went absolutely crazy over it. And as well as a split cup, which is a cup with 2 different sides where you can drink out of one cup with 2 different lattes in it. And they went insane over these things that I'm thinking, this is just cute. It went crazy. And so the little quaint coffee shop in Florissant was just not enough space. And then my parents actually have an event space downtown, which is right across the hall from the restaurant. And so this space was available, and my stepdad always wanted to open up a restaurant. And so it was just the perfect thing with Latte Lounge kind of already making a name for itself, to kind of combine the two together, because coffee by itself would not have survived this huge space. But we implemented that food part, and together I can't put into words what God has done, and it hasn't even been a year yet. I can't even put it into words. I can't. It's been crazy.
Another lesson. Don't miss this.
Message.
She was in Florissant with the daycare.
Yep.
Space came available a couple days down because I'm in tune with my star player, my head coach. I'm in tune.
Come on.
Here's a space. You wanted to do this. Now I heard you. I didn't give it to you when you said it, but I heard you. And now here this space is. It's yours. Go get it.
It's time.
Yeah.
Now we downtown. Event space. Parents doing their thing. Space comes available.
Yep.
I'm in tune with the head coach.
Yep.
Hey, is it time for this expansion? You give me all these great ideas. Yeah, why don't we
That's so
here
awesome.
in the eatery? Stepdad ready to do his thing, and you got a name, so he's not coming in naked. Like it's like people miss opportunities all the time. And one of my other favorite quotes is, people tend to miss their blessings because they often show up in overalls and look like work. Doesn't seem like you're afraid of the work.
Yeah.
Right? Talk about going into that second location and partnering with stepdad, and what was that like in those early conversations? Like, was there any bumping heads? Hey, we got to bring Latte Lounge. It's got to stay its essence. No, I want to bring this new stuff in and I want to do this. Like, what was that process like?
It was definitely an adjustment. I'm very, very, very independent. And I have a mindset for the way that I like things. I feel like I'm very in tune with like social media and what the world wants. And so I'm in the middle. I'll give you coffee, but I'll put a scripture on your cup too. So while you're in here vibing to some good music, you're going to see this on your cup while you jamming too. And so it was a couple of things that were very, I had to be very intentional about. And so some things to my dad might not have made the most sense in those moments. But I already had a culture that was set in place. I already had a group of people that I was trying to reach, essentially. And so just kind of implementing those little things that, again, that were like, okay, well, it doesn't make the most sense to you because he's a little bit more old school in some areas. Just kind of get them to come to the understanding that this is what they want. This is what they want to see. This is Instagrammable. This is what they're going to post. Those kind of things. And quickly resolved, and all is well.
That is so cool.
But definitely was an adjustment for me because, again, like I said, I'm very independent. Very independent.
And second time you call us old, but I'm gonna let that one slide too.
Keith, I don't know how many times I gotta tell you, speak for yourself.
Second time you called.
I called
it. Yeah, I'm the same age as your stepdad. I already know it. You just keep calling us old on my show. You're not gonna do that. I have to say this, and I love, like, my wife sometimes didn't understand why I watch so many documentaries and why sometimes I sit and I would watch somebody paint or do some of the oddest things that doesn't seem entertaining. One of the things that I realized about me that I love is I love seeing other people operate in their gift. Whatever it is, whether it's playing ball, whether you paint, whether you weave baskets underwater, if you're good at it, I'm intrigued. Like, man, work in your gift. Do what God gave you gifts to do. And to hear you talk about working in your gifts and allowing God to use you in whatever way he sees fit, and you yielding to that, it's just flat out amazing. So kudos to you. Kudos to the parents for raising you right. Kudos to stepdad stepping in and being another pillar for you to lean in. I'm a stepdad. When I married my wife, I instantly became dad. She had 2 kids. Funny story. I went through my whole first 22 years of life seeing baby daddy drama. I'm like, man, I ain't never messing with no woman with no kids. That ain't gonna happen. And God said, yeah, that's funny. And now I fell in love with a woman with 2 kids, right? And actually fell in love with them probably before I fell in love with her. Which is the whole thing. But kudos to the family, man, for getting it right. And you guys are continuing. So wishing you all the success. Tell everybody, man, how can we support? How can we connect? Give us all your details and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram, of course, Latte Lounge, and then, of course, Latte Lounge HG Eatery, located, again, Florissant in downtown St. Louis. If you Google or search, everything should all pop up for you. We're having brunch after dark, September the 30th, which is karaoke after hours.
Oh, wait. What day of the week is that?
That's her jam.
Wait. Let me take. Super cool. I am so sorry. This is probably looking real unprofessional right now, but this is where I look. When I tell you this, you're gonna be like, look at God, and I'm be like, girl, look at him. a small group at church, right? My daughter and her friends started a small group. The name of the small group is Voices and Verses, a karaoke small group on Friday, and they date night is Friday night. May we bring our small group down there and get our karaoke on with you, ma'am?
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's 6:30 to, I believe, 9 o'clock. The flyer is on our Facebook and Instagram, and you can buy tickets on Eventbrite. I believe it's a $15 entry fee, and then of course there's food that you can purchase here as well. It's such an amazing time. You can do karaoke, literally any song of your choice, and it's just funny to see everyone up there operate in or out of their gift.
There you go. There you go.
Have a good time. Just have a good time.
So I might not be operating in my gift on karaoke, but I'm operating in his courage, because he didn't give me a spirit of fear. He gave me a spirit of power and a sound mind. So I can get on that stage and run y'all out of there like a bag of cats.
That's why they're like, you should do it. I'm like, this is not I know what's for me, and that's
not my ministry. That's not my ministry.
That's not it. But no, that's happening September 30th, and like I said,
that's awesome.
Super great time. It's at the downtown location.
Okay.
And then we've got our fall menu items out as well at both locations. All of our fall drinks. So of course, you guys can come by and grab some new lattes that are on the menu as well.
Awesome. The daycare, are you still doing the daycare?
Yes, the daycare is in Florissant, on Waterford as well. As I mentioned, 2 doors down from the coffee shop. Kingdom Kids Learning Center. That's the name. Kingdom Kids Learning Center.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna do something that we normally don't do on this show, but I feel led that we're gonna do this show. So we're gonna do a special segment that I do on my other podcast called Freestyle, Nyshaun, because I know you got bars, right? Now, I'm not gonna ask you to rap, even though I could drop a beat and we can get this thing cracking. No, freestyle is where, because you're so positive and I know that you have something for us here, freestyle is where we give our guests an opportunity to, as we're building this multi-billion-dollar international media conglomerate, starting with this podcast, we don't always ask the right questions and the conversation doesn't always evolve. So freestyle is where we give you the opportunity to either reiterate something that has been said, or if we didn't touch on something that you feel led to speak about, you can do that. So we're going to give you a couple minutes to speak from your heart and tell everybody what it is that you want them to know. So this is the special St. Louis Hustle podcast version of freestyle. Hit them with your best bars, sis.
I think the biggest thing for me that I talked about earlier was having a mindset and not being a victim of your circumstances. I think that was a huge thing for me at such a young age, is realizing that I'm not going to get very far waddling in what I'm waddling in. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to, experience grief. It's okay to have to experience the things of the world, but also don't stay there. There's a God that's bigger than anything that you're facing right now. And so tune into him, look up, don't look to the left or right. Like Miss Michelle said earlier, we're not in competition with anyone. And writing it down and making it plain. I mentioned that earlier as well. Since I was a little girl, that's just been a really big thing for me, is writing it down and making it plain. So have goals, write them down. And like we said earlier, even though I wrote it down in 2017, 2018, and God didn't see fit for it to happen for me at that time, he knew my heart. And he knew the desires of my heart. And so even years and years later, he brought what I had written down to pass. And so I think those are the biggest things I have for my freestyle.
Drop the mic.
Drop
bars,
it.
People. That's bars, St. Louis style right here. Born and raised, bars up in here.
You make yourself look old. Look old. Overuse of the word bars. It's overuse of the word bars.
14 times, so I guess it's true. So that's going to do it for us here on the St. Louis Hustle podcast. Nyshaun, thank you so much for giving.
Thank you.
Of your wisdom, your young wisdom at 4 years old, and being so open and honest and sharing with us. I think our viewers and listeners are going to get a tremendous amount of value from this and a lot of takeaways. So, Michelle, any last words?
You have blessed us, but me personally, with your presence. There are some key things you just spoke on that I know God just used you in the moment, and I love when God does it, but he used you in the moment. So just God bless you, and I would just I'm an intercessor, so I'm a person that will keep you lifted just because you are light, sis. You are light. So keep shining.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. So that's it for us. Until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it. Each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.